non-body color door handles, the same aspect with the mirrors, but one thing I can appreciate is the fact that it has gotten a lot bigger. So those people looking for a compact car that still has a good bit of room to offer for at least 4 people comfortably could definitely get used to one of these cars. However, in terms of quality control, I can definitely say that this car somewhat lacks in that department. For starters, you look at things like the gaps here in the hood, you can see there is this massive gap right here between the hood itself and the front bumper. Now, if you knock on different panels, you're of course going to get certain more tinny, rattly sounds, but again, this is a very cheap car. Now, I'm not saying that it's not cheerful in its own way, but again, it is cheap. So we do have to keep that in mind as we go around this vehicle here. But overall, I have to say, I have a good bit of respect for the Versa. They do actually sell in pretty decent numbers, although they're not the top-selling compact car on the market right now. But for someone looking for a budget-friendly car, this is definitely one that would be on my list. Now, as I said previously, being the fact that our vehicle today is the most basic trim level of the bunch, when you open the door, you'll realize that there is a severe lacking of many of the ordinary creature comforts that you would find on a lot of other vehicles of this day and age. Things like power door locks, they're non-existent. You've got the crank-em-wank-em manual windows, and you've also got the I don't know which way to push it manual mirrors. I know those are just funny terms, but you gotta add a little humor somewhere. But as far as materials go, you're just looking at nothing but plastics, and more plastics. You've also got a little bit of vinyl here for the steering wheel, as we mentioned before, but again, dashboard, nothing but the good old-fashioned molded plastic. That's all you're going to find as far as the major touching surfaces around the interior of the vehicle. Now, speaking of the interior of the vehicle, this one has the standard black cloth seating. And one of the things that is a bit of a letdown with this car is the actual seats themselves. As you can see up top, they do not have any adjustable headrests on this 1.6 S trim. If you upgrade to the S Plus or higher trims, you can get adjustable headrests. You do get them in the back, as you can see, but as far as the driver and passenger in the front of the vehicle, you will not have any such luck adjusting your headrest. One other thing you'll not have such luck adjusting is the height of the seats. These things are bolted down solid, and they only move backwards and forwards via the lever down here, and you also have a recline. But other than that, you will not find anything else that will allow you to adjust your driving position, and the only other thing I can think of that's adjustable is the steering wheel, which does have a nice little tilting function to go along with it. Now, stepping inside of the Versa, the step-in height actually isn't too bad. Of course, this being a compact, you don't really have to duck your head. I'm actually 6'1", and I can slide into this car absolutely perfectly fine. And the fact that the seats don't actually have a height adjustment means I don't have to get in and ratchet the seat up or down before I set off to wherever I may be going. So, sliding into the seat, it kind of feels like I'm stepping into a Kia Soul, if that makes any sense whatsoever. In a Kia Soul, you don't so much step down into the vehicle, but nor do you step up. You kind of slide right in. And that's the similar situation with this Versa here. The seats are a bit high up, but again, it's not the worst thing I've ever felt in the world. Now, looking directly in front of you, as I can definitely point out, this car comes with a tachometer as standard. I know that's kind of a silly option to point out, but it's kind of necessary when you have a manual transmission. You want to know when and where to shift gears at what revs and what not. Now, if you were to go to an older Versa, like a 2012 or 13, and go with the same trim level we have here, you would not have that at all. You would instead just have this great big speedometer right here with a little shift light that would show up on your odometer down here. Now, speaking of which, you do have adjustable instrument dimming. You also have a trip meter. You also have your average MPG, which, as you can see, this one's been getting some pretty good MPG at 38.3. Your miles to empty, and that's it. So really just all the basic things that the driver needs to know about his or her vehicle. Now, moving over to the center stack here, again, it is as basic as you could possibly imagine. All of the black plastics here, there, and everywhere. You do have your basic radio, so you have FM, AM, you have a CD player, which is nice that they give you that, and you also have your auxiliary input. So if you want to play your own music, you can actually do so by just plugging in your phone via the auxiliary cord into the radio here. So the radio itself is not too bad. So that's not too bad. There's a little bit of bass to it, but it's not like the big throbbing bassy stereos that you'll find in a lot more of a premium vehicle from the same company. Now moving over to the center here, if you can see it, and pardon the sunlight here, this does have a standard single zone air conditioning system. You're not going to find any dual zone computerized climate controls here. You won't even find it if you upgrade to a few of the higher trims. You got your fan speed right here in the middle. You've got your climate zones over here on the left, so your face and your feet, defroster, and so on. Your rear defroster, you have your air conditioning, and of course your temperature control over here on the right. And you also have your outside air with a defroster, or also your air conditioning recycling via this little flip lever, and it just makes this kind of thunk when you turn it. Listen. So you can hear something changing up under the dash in which you want to actually, or in which way you want to have the air coming into your car, whether you want it from outside or you want it recycling. Now down below you do have cup holders, but I wouldn't recommend putting anything over, say, like a can or maybe a smaller bottle of soft drink or whatever down there. It's really not too great in terms of its storage. So you're not going to fit your mega double gulp from 7-Eleven down there, because that would not fit. It would probably lean back towards you, and you would risk hitting it with the gear stick, thus causing a big mess. I really don't think anyone wants that. Now again, as far as I said with the shifter, it is a rubbery feeling shifter, but again, this is an eco car. It's not meant to be a sports car. Again, 5 speeds, no big deal. But the feeling of the shifter itself is actually kind of cool, because it has this big long neck, so that is a little bit annoying, but the shifter knob itself is actually pretty nice to hold on to. I can actually get all my fingers around it, and it really is not too bad to actually grip onto. Everything else in here, you've got a second set of cup holders back here, no driver armrest or anything like that, so your arm just kind of flops down here, maybe on the gear stick, or maybe just down by your side, or maybe you're like me and keep 2 hands on the wheel at all times, which I would highly recommend. Everything else, you just got a standard 12-volt outlet down there by your emergency brake, and that's really not too bad. And then looking up, there's really not too much to see. The only thing I can find up here is this little 3-hole device, which actually is the microphone for your Bluetooth connectivity. Other than that, really not too much to see. You don't even get lights for the vanity mirrors. How sad is that?